Continuing in my quest to find a way to ridicule most Elder Scrolls NPCs as idiots, in today's video I'm going to be calling out some of the Daedric Prince of Destruction's stupidest mistakes. Mehrunes Dagon might be a powerful god with nearly limitless powers, but you can't deny that his repeatedly failed invasions of Tamriel act as testimony to the fact he's a bit of an idiot. Firstly, let's deal with Mehrunes Dagon's ambitions to invade Tamriel. Why on earth does he actually want to invade? Is it really worth all the hassle? Mehrunes Dagon is a god with his own world to play around in. He has everything he could possibly want. The fight put up by the whole of Tamriel, especially Cyrodiil and Blackmarsh, acts as testimony to how hard it would have been, even if Martin Septim's plan had failed, for Dagon to fully conquer Nirn. Moreover, even if he did, then all he's going to end up with is more space to fill up his already near infinite realm. In other words, there's no real tangible gain in it for him. Some have suggested that contingent on Dagon's nature is the Prince of Change as well as destruction. Part of his motive for initiating the invasion was simply to bring about some change. It is undeniable that he managed to achieve just that. His actions precipitated the fall of the Mages Guild, the end of the Septim dynasty, and ultimately the near collapse of the Empire and the emergence of the Ordinary Dominion. However, this must have been one of his secondary aims. No one realistically launches such a massive invasion with an air of ambivalence towards success. Thus, I think it's safe to say that Dagon was an idiot for launching an invasion that took up so much of his effort for such a little potential reward in return. When you look at the specifics of his invasion of Tamriel itself, it becomes all the more clear that Dagon isn't much of a strategist. Firstly, the timing of his invasion was awful. He assisted Yeagarthan in overthrowing Uriel Septim decades prior to Oblivion, an act that ultimately weakened the Empire because Yeagarthan wasn't an adept ruler. So why didn't Dagon invade when the Empire was in such a weak state? Dagon had nearly limitless power, so time wouldn't really be a constraint for him. Or why didn't he invade at the same time as the crisis in Morrowind involving Dagoth-Ur? It doesn't really seem to make much sense, unless he was completely unaware of what was going on the mortal plane. But as a powerful Daedric prince, surely he should know what's going on. I also take issue at Mehrunes Dagon's strategy of invading everywhere in Tamriel at the same time. His priority during the beginning of the invasion was to destroy the Septim bloodline to stop the dragon fires from being relit, an act that would have erected a barrier between Oblivion and Nirn, which would have stopped his invasion. But rather than dedicate all of his forces to invading Cyrodiil and killing Martin Septim, instead Dagon had his forces invade everywhere: the Somerset Isles, Morrowind, Blackmarsh, Hammerfell High Rock and Skyrim. If he didn't have the priority of killing the Septim bloodline, then that strategy wouldn't be half bad. However, he shouldn't have been so arrogant about the weakness of his foes and instead spent all of his efforts trying to defeat the Septims. Then there's the fact that destroying the Oblivion Gates is so easy. There are barely a dozen Daedra guarding the towers that hold the keystones that tether the Oblivion Gates once they are open. I get that the first time the Daedra probably weren't expecting mortals to counter-invade and try and shut down the Sigil Stone. However, after that first counter-attack, they probably should have stationed way more Daedra at the Sigil Towers to protect them. The key issue I have with Mehrunes Dagon is that there's no clear motivation behind his actions. I'm not convinced by those who simply say that, well, he's a Daedric Prince of Destruction, therefore he simply invaded to do some destruction. I accept that that could be the case, but it would be a pretty flimsy reason. Maybe it's because with all the great RPGs out there these days, I've come to expect a lot from antagonists, but I really think Bethesda could have done a better job of making Mehrunes Dagon more believable. At the end of the day, he's just characterised as a destructive force of nature with no real thought behind his actions, and I find that pretty bland. He's essentially a god, and the best reason Bethesda can come up with is that he has an inclination to destroy things. You might disagree with me here though, and if you do, then please feel free to leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more Elder Scrolls lore and speculation, then feel free to subscribe to my channel. Please leave suggestions for future geniuses or idiots for me to analyse in the comments below. Anyway, thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one.